Good morning. It is 7:05 a.m. on Wednesday, August 22nd, 2018. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So lots of news stuff happened yesterday. I'm not going to get into it too much just because it's exhausting. But, certainly I'm aware of it. Why did I bring it up if I'm not going to talk about it? I don't know. I guess I'm just sort of what I can talk about. Okay, it's not that I can't talk politics. I just don't want to. So it's not that like what I can talk about as though I'm somehow prescripted from talking about something else. I don't know. My point is, independent of specific feelings about specific events in the news, I think it's probably a common experience these days to get kind of stuck in a cycle where you're constantly checking the news feeds for the latest update of any kind as though there's some urgency to it, when 99.9% of that news is not something that you personally can do anything about. So hypothetically, let's just imagine someone who checks the news and reads about what's going on once per day, right? Is that person really less informed than someone who constantly checks the headlines like every 15 minutes? There may be periods during the day where the frequent checker knows things that have happened that day that haven't has the less frequent checker hasn't heard about yet, but that person would hear about it if it was important. That person, the person who only checks once a day, would hear about it later that day. So what's the value in checking more frequently than our hypothetical once per day? I don't think there really is any. It's just a means of satisfying that itch to know what's going on, right? Anyway, I think that is a consequence of the whole 24-hour news cycle. And I don't think it's good, but I don't know that there's anything to be done about it. It's kind of one of those side effects of our human nature desire to learn more about the world around us, which is a good thing, more or less. I would say it is a good quality that occasionally has some quirks. Lots of things like that. Anyway, so I had my second Improv 701 class last night. A lot of fun. We talked about Lay-Ons, which a lay-on in improv is something that is added to the scene by someone who is not already in the scene. And it's usually something transformative or clarifying, which, you could think of it almost like an Instagram filter or something like that, where you have a scene and let's say it's two people arguing about, they didn't want to come here on vacation, but they haven't really gotten into like where specifically they have gone, where they talked about going instead, and then so they're talking about it as though maybe like it's a cheap hotel room, but they haven't really said, and then someone could lay on that where they actually are is in a cabin on the Titanic. Or you could say, now only they're going to continue this scene, but each of them can only ask questions. So things like that, where it's just an additional layer onto the original scene. Thus, Lay-On. It's fun stuff, and I like the teacher is very enthusiastic and supportive, which is nice. Not that I really haven't had any of my improv teachers there at Improv Boston that I didn't like, but everyone has their own different styles, right? The current teacher is very enthusiastic and supportive, and everyone in class feels like they belong there, which is good. Um, every so often you get a class where there's someone there where it's like it's nothing against them as a person. It's more just a little bit like if you had someone who's just a little less experienced, trying out. But like everyone in this class is really just like great. In any event, I'm doing okay. So I'll leave it there for right now, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.